Alright guys, a rematch of the Gamers 8 Grand Final that we had, give or take, 5 months ago in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Reynor and Cure made it to the Grand Finals back then. Cure took the 1-0 lead, I believe, and then Reynor won 4 games in a row.
BASILISK versus Team Liquid. Game 2. Let's start the game.
Let's start a game. I'm ready, mate. If you're ready, I'm ready. Here we go.
Round 1. Fight!
Bottom left side of Solaris. We are looking at the main base of our Italian stallion, Basilisk Reynor. In the top right side, we are looking at the main base of our Korean Terran, who joined a Team Liquid on the 10th of October, something like that, 2023. Obviously is a great asset for them and has helped them make this great run so far in WTL Code S. It is Team Liquid Secure. I love how they say Basilisk. I love how they say everything, mate. Such good starting maps for Basilisk. A lot of pro Zergs will tell you, mate, that Solaris is not a Zerg map. I have confidence in Reynor on Solaris. I'm a tiny bit surprised that they decided to go with Cure here. But maybe Cure loves this map. Obviously, I'm not super dialed in on what Cure loves and what he doesn't love, but feel good about this. I think we can look at this best of 2 from a Basilisk perspective, that if this goes 1-1, Reynor wins 1, Cure wins 1, that's not bad for us. If it is 0-2, that's obviously not great, but if this goes 1-1, it's okay. If Reynor goes 2-0, then we're flying. And we're definitely not there yet, but then we would be flying. Who else could they send though? I would send Clem. But I'm sure that they have discussed it to length, and I'm sure that Cure is confident. Of course, this is on a different patch than what Cure and Reynor played at Gamers 8 a couple months ago. Cure can only beat Reynor, can't beat Serral. That's their mindset, I think. Could be. You guys are free to speculate as long as you're nice. So the way that it works with revives is that we can revive one player to play another set of 2 games, but that can only happen after 3 players have already played. So if Reynor would lose right now, we cannot just insta-revive Reynor. That's not a thing. We would have to wait until everybody has played, and only then we could decide to revive Reynor. And it's also important to keep in mind that if you revive a player, they cannot play in the ace match. Europe against Korea would never be on East. The way that they always do servers is that I believe Game 1 will be on US West and Game 2 is on US Central. Who is we? Great question, MD DU. If you can figure it out, mate, let me know. I know it's very hard to figure it out with all the branding, all the logos, the hoodie, but I believe you can get to the bottom of this, mate. I believe so, Item Protos. I believe so. Roach Warren going down for Reynor, 3 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. So far, I think the defense against the Reaper has been good. We did not lose a drone. We do lose a creep tumor, and we could be in danger of losing another one, but that is not happening. I believe that our boy has been putting in quite some work over the last week. Reynor obviously makes it no secret whenever he slows down a little. Throughout the year 2023, I think Reynor worked incredibly hard, and I think you guys saw that. In Katowice, he looked great until he lost to Oliveira, but everybody lost to Oliveira on that day. It was still a great tournament for Reynor besides that. Won a home story cup, and obviously won Gamers 8 as well. So I think it was a successful 2023. Towards the end, he slowed down a little, had some fun, focusing on other stuff, moving around a little bit, traveled a little. He's back. And he's ready. And obviously we are not that far out from the Intel Extreme Masters in Katowice. It actually starts in the beginning of February, guys, and that's a month from now. Hellion Cloak Banshee Triple CC is one of the most traditional openings that there is in TVZ. It's the kind of build that a Terran likes to go for if all they want to do is just figure out what's happening, survive, keep the Zerg honest, keep them in check, and take the game from there. Secure playing a confident opener that should not come as a surprise. The follow-up though, guys, the follow-up may be a tiny bit surprising, as Cure drops 2 more factories here, guys. Seems like maybe he's been watching a bit of that big Gabriel stream, where Hero Marine has obviously been spamming them Cyclones, been spamming Banshees with Hyperflight Rotors and all the stuff that comes along with it. I did not expect this. Don't hate it. Hyperflight Rotors is indeed going to be the next upgrade that is going to get researched on the tech lab of Cure. Reynor going up to 4 bases. Would be very annoying if the Banshees get a cancel on this hatchery, but not sure if Reynor can do too much about it. Yeah, we have some Queens, we have an Overseer, so it should be okay. Can do more than enough about it. For Cure, it's very important, guys, to not bleed out any Banshees early. This is like one of these builds that, whoa, that's a lot of damage on one Banshee, and Reynor gets the kill. Jack Frost.
1 shot, 1 kill.
That's big, guys. Getting a Banshee without losing a single drone. Reynor has been playing a lot of Archon mode throughout the week. And for people that are listening and not that familiar with Archon mode, what that means is that Reynor by himself plays against 4 or 5 other players that all control just one fraction. So it's a 1v1 game, but then instead of it being controlled by 1 player, you have 5 people controlling the Terran race. Reynor likes this kind of practice because he feels that it pushes him into overdrive. He has to be everywhere at once because obviously every single player can babysit every single unit properly and get max value out of a single Banshee, a single Raven, a single medevac drop. So Reynor loves that kind of practice. I've watched it a little bit. The games are obviously incredibly fast. So maybe then when he goes back to playing regular 1v1, everything feels a little bit slower. To be fair, he took more than 1 shot. It took a lot of shots, mate. The kill is big. The Goku gravity training, yeah. Consider it training in the hyperbolic time chamber. Or Vegeta. I mean, Reynor looks a little more like a Gohan to me, but... You know. Roaches are starting to battle. Hellions on the edge of creep. Reynor with a little Changeling Scout. If these Changelings can get in deep, it can obviously be big. Hive is fired up for Reynor as he's got a Spire as well. Banshees are going to be annoying, but this is why it's so nice that he already picked up one. Because the strength of this opening, the strength of these Banshees with Hyperflight Rotors, it often really comes down to just how many of them are there. 1 or 2 is annoying. But if you're looking at 5 or 6, then they can just get on top of 1 or 2 Queens, get on top of bases and kill them off, pick them off easily. Since Reynor killed one so early, that's not going to happen as Reynor gets to surround as well on all these Hellions. I think a little sloppy by Cure. I don't know if he wanted to get rid of them or what the play is here, but yeah, that seemed easy. Light work for the champ. 94 drones already as the Cloak Banshees are going to lose that cloak. So running out of energy, will be able to pick off 1 or 2 drones, but Reynor is looking incredibly sharp. 9 minutes into Solaris. Colaris. Can't help it. After you hear it, guys, you cannot unhear it. This map will forever be linked to Colaris. You know what? I think James is big enough of a legend that he deserves his own map. I can live with that, guys. The man has been around since what? The beginning of 2012. That's when he covered his first IEM. Or was it 2012 March, right, James? Your first big offline event. Intel Extreme Masters in Hanover. The beautiful city of Hanover. First big land. I know you did stuff before that. But yeah, the first big one is the one that I'm looking for. I think that was 2012. So after Colaris been around, guys, for 12 years, I think he deserves his own map. I also think somebody should make a RotterdaM map, to be completely fair. Get a little Erasmusbrug going somewhere. Beautiful city hall. But I digress. Oh, Queens, by the way, guys, backstabbing the Banshees. As Reynor is also going to try to make some magic happen with Roachling, Ravager Bane. Should get an easy cancel on that command center. Cure obviously does have that 4 base setup. And I think that a lot of Reynor's game plan will come down to never allowing Cure to go up to 5 bases. A lot of these maps are designed in a way where going up to 2 bases, obviously super easy, as that is how Starcraft 2 is played. 3 bases, incredibly doable. 4, quite doable as well, but base number 5, that's often where high-level players will draw the line and say, I cannot let you get that. Clara said paid 600 euros for 6 days. But think of the exposure, James. There's a couple of lightning clouds go down on these tanks, and Reynor with banelings will just blow up the planetary fortress. And he is going to get each and every single tank. Big pickoff. Reynor has money in the bank, 96 rounds. It is very important if your drone count is this high that you keep on being aggressive, that you keep on trading. Like, there is no point for Reynor to let Cure max out and get a lot of money in the bank, and for Reynor to have an even bigger bank when he has this many drones, because then it's so hard for the Zerg to win a fight, as the max potential army supply of Reynor is 104. This game looks done already. It looks very good for Reynor. I mean, Reynor has survived every single little phase of the game, as he's now getting just a couple of tanks, guys, with links, as the friendly fire of these tanks is big. I mean, it's a perfect time for Cure, guys. We're playing some video games, so we can't say that he had to wake up too early. It's like, what is it, 7 or 8 p.m.? That was big, guys. Just a few, well, obviously a decent amount of Zerglings, but just some minerals that Reynor got rid of there, used, and he gets a whole bunch of tanks in return. 12 minutes in, it kind of feels that everything has gone Reynor's way. Reynor got the Hellions. Reynor got a bench early. Reynor got additional benches. Reynor's getting tanks. He's landing more blinding clouds. He's going to go for it again. Links and Banes making through the front line. These Banelings will connect with some SCVs. Might actually go for the planetary a little bit too. Reynor, I don't... Okay, well, we'll get the SCVs in the end. We get a lot of them. We got 16 in total. As the Banshees now were actually chasing those queens, but obviously plenty of queens were left over. At one point, maybe Reynor could have used those Banes to take out the PF, because that would have opened the wave. Opened the door for the next wave to be very successful. Hello, Pi. First match was Reynor versus Elaser. A best of 2. ZVZ, Radhuset into Oceanborn. Reynor has 4k in the bank. Curious supply is obviously still looking good. Curious bank is looking very tiny. A couple of the Hellbats get picked off. Banelings will connect. Ravages will connect. Yeah, Reynor 2-0. Reynor's still on. Team Liquid is down 1 life, and they have decided to send out Cure second. Starting map obviously is Solaris. It seems that my stream had a tiny hiccup here. And if Reynor wins this map, which it is starting to look like, but never celebrate too early against Turtle Terran. But it is starting to look like Reynor can bring this one home. Then obviously Cure can pick any map he wants besides Hecate. We have vetoed Hecate. Well, we actually only decided who we send out first after we knew that it was... I mean, I don't want to share everything, Lino, but what I can tell you guys is that we only decided who we send out first after we knew it was Team Liquid. And then we came up with a plan. We have Lynx, Banes, and Vipers and Ravagers getting on top of the third one more time. Some SCVs dying, not too many yet. Reynor needs to be a tiny bit careful as there's a crazy amount of tanks on the high ground. I would say out of all the attacks, this is the one that I was the least fond of. But he did get rid of the planetary fortress. But this one could have gone a little bit better, but with the bank that Reynor has, it is okay. How does map voting and banning works in WTL? Both teams can veto 1 map for the entire clan war. However, there are starting maps. So there are just 7 or 8 or 9 starting maps laid out. And you have to start on those whenever a new set starts. And then it is loser pick. And you can pick whatever map you want if you lose the first map. Besides the map, obviously, that the enemy team vetoed. Team Liquid vetoed Radhuset Station. So you guys won't see that anymore. Unless one of the Team Liquid guys plays it. But that would be very strange. As Reynor gets the planetary and the double kill, by the way, on the Liberators. That's big. We vetoed Hecate. But he couldn't control Reynor. He was like a wild animal this morning. I heard he ran all over town screaming that he's going to beat Team Liquid players all by himself. That is not exactly what happened. But if you're asking me if Reynor is fired up, oh yes, he's fired up. Reynor is ready for video games. And we need him to be ready. Because obviously Liquid is terrifying. As you saw throughout the last 2 games. Why did we veto Hecate? I mean, I think that's kind of obvious, right? I think you guys will know why we vetoed Hecate. Broodlords are making their way to the other side of the map. There are a couple Vikings here, guys, but not too many. Queens need to be careful because we don't have that much. Ooh, Reynor, be careful, please. There are so many tanks. Reynor is actually dropping like 30, 40 supply real quick. As he does land a parasitic bomb, but once more, maybe not the best attack that we've ever seen. Reynor needs to start being a little bit careful. The first 12 minutes, it felt like it was almost perfect. The last 3, it is okay to get a bit reckless. It's okay to be a bit aggressive, but you have this many bases. Reynor just wants to keep on trading because he knows that he's got the economic advantage. But we are taking some rough fights here, guys. And obviously with 98 Zerglings on the production tab. Alright. Hello, Benny. Oh, Reynor actually finds a lot of these tanks, guys. Every single tank on siege in the center of the map. We're enemies today, Ben. Your boys versus my boys. Corruptors, Lings, Banelings. No Banelings. A lot of Overseers. And a couple of Ravagers getting on top of more tanks. Ghost count is decent, but definitely not unkillable levels. What is scary though, guys, is that despite Reynor his efforts on keeping Cure contained on 4 bases, sometimes even knocking him back to 3, we are now looking at a 6-base Cure. But it is a 6-base Cure that's pretty spread out. It's a 6-base Cure with a lot of openings. There's a couple of links run into the original triangle and pick up 18 SCVs just like that. That move is Roddy Ace match. We both know that you'd be too afraid to step up to the task. Let me guess, Ben. New mouse, new keyboard, new headset, audio levels changed. What is it? I know you don't want that smoke, mate. What's the play? Build a couple of barracks and build a few marauders on the other side of the map? You really think that that's gonna bring home an ace match, Benny? You know better than that. Broodlord's getting on top of a rich Vespian Geyser. I challenge you every single week, Ben. And you never won any of that smoke. Let me guess, too cold in Sweden? What is it, -20? Boo-hoo.
Oh, Alice, does the central heating not work today? I have to play against my good friend Kevin, but it's so cold.
All of a sudden it's Alice her fault. Cure income is higher than Reynor. Yes, because Cure did get up to 6 bases for a brief moment, and obviously Cure has a lot of orbitals. And a Terran on 6 bases and a lot of orbitals was hard to compete with. Reynor finds a few more tanks that I think are somewhat exposed. Earlier it was a nightmare to attack here, now it's a little bit easier. In a weird way, ever since Cure has gone up to that 5th and 6th base, it became a bit easier for Reynor to take decent fights. Cure is definitely hanging in there like a champ. It's Thors, it's Ghost, it's Vikings. So hard to break these guys. This is it's going to be a battle for the ages today, guys. Obviously at this point I still like it for Reynor because most of the map is purple. Reynor still has a bank. And I think Cure is not in that dream spot yet. But you also feel that Cure is like 2 minutes away from getting to his dream army. With the SCV count going down a little bit, it means even more Thors, more tanks, more ghosts. And it can be so hard to break them. We've seen Reynor fall in the past to the likes of Ryong on Neo Humanity, Spirit on Neo Humanity in similar games like this. But it looked like he was winning. As we're going to try to end it one more time, or at least deal a devastating amount of damage with a lot of Banelings and Lings and Broodlords rolling into the Thors, getting a couple of these Terran units. The final Broodlord shots, good enough. I would have actually preferred not to send the Broodlords back there and just like aim move and let them die, because they will die anyway. The moment you try to fly them back, they will die anyway. So then it's better to get another shot off and another shot off. I do love these non-stop tiny Ling run-bys, guys. As Reynor has been able to kill a decent amount of tanks with just links. Yeah, no, this game is not over. Ever since Cure got his hands on the bottom right and now is from time to time mining from this center base with the Rich Vespine Geyser. Anybody who thinks that this is over has not seen enough TVZ in the last few years. How did this game start? Reynor had a good start, Ben. Killed one of the Banshees of Cure. When Cure only had 2 Banshees. Lost 0 drones. Then surrounded 8 Hellions in the bottom side of the map on creep. Didn't lose any drones. Didn't lose a whole lot of drones against Hyperflight Rotors. Reynor had a really good start. Yeah, I would definitely say Reynor was ahead. And I would almost say that the first 11-12 minutes were close to perfect for Reynor. Will he get Ultras at some point? I mean, they are cheaper, right? The Ultra buff is the thing. I'm sure that we'll see some Ultras eventually, but I don't think here on Solaris. I think if Reynor wanted Ultras, we would have already seen them. I think Reynor fears the ghost too much. I know, Ben. That's why I brought up the games against Spirit and the games against Ryang. As obviously not everybody's reading chat, but my friend Ben Demo, a Team Liquid Starcraft 2 and Age of Empires player, is saying that this game is slowly turning into the kind of game that Reynor does not really like. And I do agree with you. But I think Reynor is also doing everything within his power to prevent it from truly becoming the kind of game he doesn't like. How's resources lost? I wish I could tell you, mate, but I am not joining these games. I am not in the game. I'm not your observer. I am just watching a stream and trying to make it fun and exciting. As Reynor lands a blinding cloud, gets a couple of these tanks. Hellbats on the top side of the map as a fuel tank. Hashtag roll out, guys. Cure thinks he's playing World of Tanks. Oh, that's big, guys. That is big. As Cure snipes 3 of the Vipers of Reynor. Cure gets 3 Vipers with a lot of energy. And he doesn't lose anything. Cure really is getting a lot of points on the board as he's killing 19 drones with these Hellions and Blue Flames. And this kind of feels like... Oh my goodness. It's 29 drones all of a sudden. 31. This feels like a real momentum changer. I am not going to play the Max Verstappen song for 33 drones dying. It's 34 anyway. Massive minute for Cure. As Cure has Blue Flame Hellions get 34 drones. His tanks at the bottom side of the map get a hatchery. And the Ghost snipe the Vipers. And all of a sudden, anybody who said that this game is over and that it's done or that it feels over is probably realizing that it is never that simple. These are the WTL Codas playoffs. You're watching the very best Starcraft 2 players in the world. Games are not over that quickly. A massive minute for Cure. Wow. Yeah. If we want to look at the bright side of life, we can say that Reynor had a crazy amount of drones for the longest time, and that obviously made his army supply a bit smaller. Because of the fact that Reynor is down to 55 drones now, he does have 145 army supply, and maybe some of these fights will look a little bit better than they did before. As the Banelings are still chasing all these goals, a lot of the mech units go down. The Banelings in the end kind of settle for the Hellbats. A lot of the ghosts are low on HP. Not a bad scrap by Reynor, but obviously Reynor, his bank is no longer as big as it was before. Cure's supply did take a severe blow too. Cure has an orbital. It's almost like hiding at the bottom side of the map. 5 Liberators, 7 tanks, and 8 ghosts are left for Cure. If Reynor scrapes every single penny together that he has, and he maxes out immediately again, he might be able to do it. Getting scary. Lings, Roaches, and Ravagers are going to run in. Come and use a Crucible on that Liberator, please. He's going to do that. Surrounds all those tanks there. Big pick-off as Cure supply is definitely taking a serious hit. Cure has a tiny bit of a gas issue, but he does have his hands on that rich Vespian Geyser. Or, as our good friend, the demo would say, the very rich Vespian Geyser. It's a classic, man. I know you haven't watched me all that much lately, but can't go a game without talking about your very rich Vespian Geyser. Hello, Coco. Lings, Roaches, and Ravagers in the Naturals. We land a couple of Crucible. Oh, come on. We needed one more for the double kill there. There's 2 Liberators are very adventurous. Okay, I don't know about double Parabomb here. That feels feels like a little much there, guys. But hey, I guess it's only energy. I guess Reynor thinks that he can get that energy back quickly. Ooh, it kind of feels that this game will be decided in like the next 2-3 minutes. As Reynor is obviously running out of gas, running out of resources. Losing overseers is scary. We need to make sure that we always have those overseers. We can't ever win a fight without overseers. As the ghosts get in range, land a few more snipes. Reynor's piggy bank is gone. Most of the bases have been mined out. I think it all comes down to the next 2 or 3 minutes. Cure loses another planetary. It's been one hell of a game. Came down to the wire. This is kind of it. Reynor doesn't need okay fights anymore. Reynor doesn't need a trade. Reynor needs a home run. A slam dunk victory. We land a nice fungal, at least on all these helpets. I don't know if that's going to be the difference maker, but it looks satisfying. As the ghosts are going to try to get in range of the Brute Lords, the fungal does land there. Makes it a little bit harder. Not that much anti-air left here for Cure. Reynor still maxed out as the Corruptors are taking care of these Liberators. The Lynx and Roaches are waiting patiently in the back. The surprise next wave of Brute Lords. Is that then good enough? As breaking, especially this base, guys, is so important. Reynor also needs to make damn sure that Cure cannot get his hands on that 6 o'clock position. Massive fight for Reynor. Massive fight for Reynor. A lot of SCVs going down that are trying to save this Orbiter. I do believe this Orbiter will get saved. Reynor knows about that base at 6 o'clock. 100 Zerglings out on the map. Cure loses that base quickly and Reynor says, I believe that is mine, sir. I believe I own this property. Cure his bottom right base, and that's obviously the base with the highest amount of resources left that Cure still has. Now under a lot of danger too. Cure is like, hey, earlier I found a lot of success with some Hellbats. I'm gonna go ahead and do that all over again, as he does kill 18 drones very quickly. Reynor wants to get this PF so bad. The Broodlings are working on those SCVs as well to make repair a little bit less effective. Can the Brutes, with the lack of damage that they have compared to the old days, do enough damage to the PF to kill it? And obviously, as you guys can see, the answer to that question is yes. Cure does get fully on top of that base in the top side of the map. What a game between these two, man. This can truly turn into a TVZ day for the ages. We haven't seen a Terran player lose a single game yet in the WTL Codex playoffs if it wasn't against another Terran. But my fighting words today that some Terrans will go down today, and hopefully a lot of them will fall since we don't have any Terrans on the team. Cure is down to 104 supply. He knows that, I mean, he needs to get income. His income's in the gutter. 0 gas income at the moment, and without any gas you can't build any ghosts. And if you can't build any ghosts, how do we clean up this Zerg army? It really comes down to this, the final 121 supply against the 60 supply of Cure. But Reynor has to know that Cure is broke as a joke. Is it happening, guys? For the first time in the entire weekend, will a Terran fall? Can the Terrans fall? I am a bit tired of your negativity, Mr. HWKI. I don't know how you can ever sit here and be like, oh, Cure played so bad, Cure played so bad. He's playing a 29-minute game against one of the best Zergs in the history of this beautiful video game. A Zerg that is dialed in, a Zerg that is playing his absolute best, doing his best. We're gonna not let that go. Like, obviously, if somebody loses in 3 minutes and doesn't repair a bunker or something, I'm like, yeah, okay, that was kind of bad, but... This was a 29-minute slugfest where Cure had a rough start, truly brought it back at one point, and I started getting very worried. And it's like, in a weird way, it can always still be scary, but I think at this point, with the final few Zerglings, we can get on top of these ghosts. And for the first time this weekend, a Terran player will bleed. The Swarm is back in all its glory, and it's Jack Frost, Reynor, who takes the 1-0 lead in the second series of this best of 2. See that, RMLski? They can bleed. They can all bleed. Latest GG in the game. Well, at one point, it obviously Reynor was out of money too, right? So it made sense that it would come down to, yeah, probably a late GG. It would come down to the very last few units. And once more, you're obviously playing here for your team. You're not just playing for yourself. And that is not a moment where people are going to leave early. If this was an online tournament, maybe he would have left a minute earlier or 90 seconds earlier. But when you're playing for your boys, when you know it's not just you, you're going to do your very best. Boya is guessing the next map. I expect to see them pick some Side Delta. I personally think Side Delta is a good TVZ map. We have vetoed Hecate, so that's not an option. Could also be Oceanborn. I don't know. Maybe he likes Oceanborn. These casters seem unhappy about the match. I mean, Maxat, the guy on the right, is a Protoss player. So maybe he doesn't love it. They go Heartlet. Cure decides to go Heartlet. I'm going to go ahead, guys, and take a very tiny break after a 30-minute game. I'm nervous as well. I'll see you guys real soon. Actually, I'm going to run 3 minutes of ads because that was a long game. And we obviously didn't do it properly the job before. So 3 minutes, game 2 coming up. Reynor versus Cure. So far, the boys have been perfect. Let's hope we stay perfect. I'm gonna make myself another coffee. But we can do the intros quickly. As I said, it is Heartlet. Bottom right side, obviously our man, Basilisk Reynor. Top left side, representing Team Liquid. I was just thinking, by the way, my tiny little mini break, that he was here last year. Lower bracket final. Back then he was representing Abydos. It is Team Liquid's Cure. Last year Abydos made it all the way to the final round of the lower bracket. And Serral played a lot of games. Way too many games. I'm just making my my coffee. So I'm gonna have to stand up one more time. Be careful, the chair is supporting Team Liquid. As I said in the beginning of the day, I have nothing but love for Team Liquid, and I think everybody knows that. And I feel anybody that's still watching Starcraft in the year 2024 needs to love Team Liquid. Without TL, I think we can safely say that the scene would not be the same, and I genuinely mean that. They have been amazing to this game from the very beginning till the very end, always supported players, ran tournaments, created a community. Team Liquid is a 10 out of 10 esports org. And I'm very happy with my chair. But today, I'm rooting for Basilisk. Couple of links sneaking into the main, a little bit of lost mining time. Also picking up the SCV that's building the CC, guys. That's obviously not too bad. Tiny bit of a delay. Reynor would love to get one more SCV. Does not get it. Nice micro there by Cure. So it's 6 links in the end just for a single Marine. I thought he picked off the SCV, but Cure just saved the SCV that was building the CC. So 6 links for a single Marine. Maybe not the trade that Sweet Dreams are made of, but it is important to keep in mind the delay on the command center and the lost mining time. I don't think there truly is any flashlight. Obviously, there is your different social medias, right? You can use Discord servers, you can use Twitter or whatever, but when it comes to like websites, Team Liquid and Reddit are the 2 places in general for StarCraft 2. Christmas tree, Henom. I've got this one for you, mate. Exclamation mark, a triathlon. It will answer all your questions about my Christmas tree. Guten Morgen, Jimmy, mein Freund. As Reynor has a roach war and he queues up 5 roaches. I'm using the lucky mug, by the way, slowly. I don't know if you are here, but my beautiful Canadian mug is back. Team Liquid indeed also runs the TLMC, the Team Liquid map making contest. I mean, I didn't cover all the reasons why Team Liquid is awesome, guys. I'm sure there are many more. I just mentioned a few at the top of my head. Such a shame. I wanted Roddy to all kill DKZ. Maybe next year, mate. Maybe next year. I think you guys know that the fire is still burning and I'm always trying. It's just really hard. I think the main reason why a lot of us love Starcraft is because we know it is such a difficult game. It's such a competitive game, and I never stop trying. I am not a caster because I love casting so much more than I love playing the game. If I was half as good as these guys, I would be playing here today. Unfortunately, I'm just not that talented. I'm not bad, but I'm not that great. Our legal lag does not have anything to do with Team Liquid. Good morning, Eon Blue. Good morning, Mars Bar. I had a hard time falling asleep yesterday. I finished the entire Season 6 of Seal. Got me pumped up. I was excited like a kid before Christmas. Mixer says, I'll be generous and say that you're half as good as Reynor. Yeah, maybe half as good. What did I write, Alex? If I wrote it wrong, let it be. Whatever. I'm not taking the triathlon all that serious. Guten Morgen, Lambo. Yeah, we started earlier today. They said 12, but they already gave us the heads up yesterday that... Well, they called it a Q&A, and I was a bit confused. But what they actually meant was just do an interview and then start. I think they were a bit terrified by the marathon match between Team Liquid and Shopify Rebellion yesterday. That if we would have 2 of those matches, that the Chinese casters would have to stay up till like 6 AM, and I don't think they want that. Double clock Banshee getting a couple of shots off. So far, all out macro. Look at the minimap, by the way, guys. 6 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. And this is a whole lot more creep than you saw in a 20-minute game in Wings of Liberty or Heart of the Swarm. Could I beat Reynor in a PvP? Well, Reynor, his mechanics are just so good that obviously Reynor can outplay me in almost any scenario. But are there a few all-ins that I could do that Reynor potentially doesn't know how to deal with? Yes, I could do that. I played some off-race against Reynor in the past. There was a small time where Reynor didn't have his own apartment yet in the Netherlands. And he asked if he could stay at my place for a bit so he could have his own room and he wouldn't be distracted by family, dogs, parents, etc. And I said, sure, mate, you're always welcome. And we did do a few streams where we played 1v1 against each other. I was sitting in the living room, or he was sitting in the living room, and I was sitting upstairs. And I played against his Zerg, his Terran, and his Protoss. Actually, back then, I think I won the PvP, and I came downstairs and I started taunting him. And he didn't like it, but then he put me in my place, and then he beat me in TVP, so he came to my room and he started making fun of me. We had some fun streams back then. Your audio is kind of ahead of the video? That cannot be a thing. That should absolutely not be a thing. I think you might have 2 tabs open or something. Yeah, no, that wouldn't work with me watching a clean feed. Couple of Marines stimming forward, gunning down the Ravages. Well, that's not bad for Cure, obviously. It just means you're so good at telling what's about to happen. I don't want to brag, but I think yesterday I did have a few games where I did a very good job in predicting what I think is good and what I expect to happen, and did happen. But I'm not gonna sit here and give myself compliments all day. And then people are like, so weird, so full of himself. I think I was in a couple of the Protoss matches yesterday. I was on point. Are you nervous? A healthy amount of nerves, yeah. 4 drones getting picked off. Curious playing pretty good here, guys. This is already a very different start than Solaris was. Obviously, I still like Reynor's map vision. I like how quick Reynor has stacked up. And got all the way up to Hive. We've got Vipers on the production tab 9 minutes in. But I do think that Cure is looking pretty clean here. Reynor does get on top of a couple of these bio units in the center. You're not worried for Reynor? That makes me happy. He did look good. It often shows so quickly, right? Whenever you guys know that Reynor is keeping his head down and he's playing Starcraft and he's practicing and he's doing his best. Of course, nobody can always win. That goes for everybody. That goes for Maru, Serral, and Reynor. But when Reynor is practicing, it shows. And I think this is already so far a very different Reynor than we've seen throughout the regular season. Why audio and music so tuned? I mean, I don't know why you guys say that. It really should not possibly be a thing. I've dropped 0 frames. That could be an issue on Twitch test side. You guys can try to refresh the stream. But to me, it is perfect. It should be perfect for you guys. If there is an issue, just press F5. It seems like it's good for 90% and 10% is struggling a little. Yeah, maybe something happened on the Twitch end of things, guys. Obviously, I can only do so much. And some things are always going to be out of my control. I was a tiny bit nervous in the beginning of the day. I was like, this would be a terrible day to have some internet issues, but absolutely not happening yet, and there's no signs of that. There's a couple of links, guys. Got some pretty good pickups here. I can get another tank as well. We'll get another tank. Looking pretty good. A lot of banelings connecting with the bio units and the Hellbats, as well as the Widow Mines get blown up too. Pretty decent trades here, I think, for Reynor, guys. And obviously we are working on 3-3 upgrades. Do we have a Reynor glance yet? I didn't totally see that, but I'm gonna assume that we have it, because that Hive has been done for a little while. Widow Mine, nice split there by Reynor, guys. Sending a single Zergling forward, making sure that the Widow Mine only fires. We drop a couple of Parabombs as well, and Fear was a little bit late splitting off that second medevac. But Reynor is gone. Happy to hear. That tiny Zergling split, guys, that he sent forward there. Obviously, that makes a very big difference in some of these engagements. Reynor sitting on 3,300 minerals. As Cure is doing his absolute best to go up to 5 bases. Reynor knows that a 5-base Cure on Hardlet could become a problem. Another Parabomb goes down and deals a lot of damage. Look at the Parabomb, guys. That's 4 or 5 medevacs dying very quickly. And that actually means that it's going to be a lot harder for these other bio units to keep on stimming and keep on battling. As we do have our first Ultras on the way. There are 2 Banshees still being annoying in the center left side. Those Parabombs were big. Medevacs ain't all that cheap. Couple of corrosive balls will connect with one of the Widow Mines as the Widow Mine shot does land. I don't think the Cure can really be here. You look at these medevacs, guys. They are low on HP and they really don't have that much energy. As another Parabomb does go down, Cure is pretty quick to split it off this time around, but then he kind of brings it back to the rest of the party. And that is then still a triple kill on the medevac. Oh, we'll take that. Ultralisk speed off creep now on the way as well. Where are the ghosts? They are on the production tab, mate. 4 of them at once. I think maybe Cure didn't want to rush into the ghost too quickly because he wanted to keep some momentum, keep Reynor at bay and make sure that he could go up to 5 bases. He is at 5 bases now. And, this maybe is not the prettiest engagement so far. Those Ultras, by the way, took so much damage so quickly. Surprised me a little bit. As we do land a Blinding Cloud, Banelings crashing into the Planetary. That's 13 SCVs and the Planetary dying. That's a lot of Marines and Marauders dying as well. And this turned into a pretty perfect fight. I mean, look at these upgrades on the right side. They are perfectly in sync. But this obviously worked out great for Reynor because a lot of the goals were on the way. But only one or two of them were there for the fight. If Reynor waits like another 30 or 40 seconds, it's going to be a whole lot harder to break that. That was a perfect moment to strike. I believe they say he struck when the iron was still hot. Well, that iron was steaming, baby. Ian Blue says, isn't Cure just that? People also said that 10 minutes into Solaris, and that turned into a 29-minute game, where at one point, chat started believing that Cure was winning, and yeah, Cure definitely had some momentum going, so We're not gonna celebrate too early. As I said many times, these are the very best players out there, but this looks great for Reynor, especially with some parabombs. The Planetary Fortress is not done yet. The Widow Mines get some good shots. It is Ling, Banes, and Ultras getting on top of this Planetary one more time, and that's another kill. 5 SCVs go down as well. Second orbital goes down. Alright, we'll take, well, it was almost an orbital. Cure gets a tiny bit of money back since it wasn't an orbital yet, but it is another command center that goes down. Lambo says Cure is scoping big time, but you can't blame him for that, Lambo. You know how it is, mate. When you're playing for the team, you're not gonna leave early. But it does look, guys, that our boy, the Italian Stallion, is absolutely cooking so far into the WTL Codes playoffs. Our first appearance of the winter season. It's a lot of links surrounding a sensor tower. That sensor tower gets picked up as well. Exclamation mark perfect in the chat for that one. And I think we are gearing up for our final wave. No blame, still cope. Widow Mine's getting a shot off on a couple of Zerglings as SCVs die. Lings, Banes, and Ultras making their way up this ramp. That's a big Widow Mine shot, but it's a lot of Marauders that go down as well. Best fight that Cure has taken in quite some time, though. Whew. That makes me happy that Reynor has taken some absolutely spectacular fights in the previous 2 minutes. 'Cause I'll be that honest, I kind of thought that this fight was going to be it. That was by far and away the best fight that Cure has taken in a while. Is it enough to save this game? Whew, that was a solid minus 5k resource probably. Oh. 26 Banelings and 4 Ultras is going to be the remix of Reynor. Do we have like any infestors at all on the map? I know it is hard to land fungos, but kind of like a little infestor in there. Cure with a 98 army supply. Planetary Fortress is done. We're gonna land a Blinding Cloud probably on top of that bad boy almost immediately. And Reynor will just do whatever he can to make sure that Cure cannot come through the mine of this base. The Banelings are going for the chase. They're gonna connect with mostly Marauders. A lot of SCVs there. You may as well blow those up. And that is exactly what Reynor does. So Reynor gets another command center. Gets 19 SCVs. And this one was a whole lot better than the previous one. PHM, I think that's mostly because of... yeah, you guys see it in the bottom side. It's 5k, right? The difference. Reynor has lost 5,000 resources more, but has obviously mined a whole lot more than Cure. I just think that previous fight there on the left side ramp, that was one that was... heavily in favor of Cure. One of the best trades we've had. 63 Banelings on the way. 63. I believe a very wise caster duo once upon a time said, that's so many Banelings. I don't know how many Banelings we had back then. Not quite sure if it was 63. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Reynor's gonna try to end it once and for all. Here we go for the swarm in all its glory. Parabombs, blinding clouds, Banelings, Ultras, another command center that could potentially go down. I love the parabombs and the medevacs throughout the entire game. They have done so much damage. The Ultras will easily take care of the planetary, and Cure makes a frowny face as he knows that this is not something that he can possibly keep on doing. There are still Banelings in the mix that will connect with maybe another ghost. Yes, maybe a few more perhaps, and that is going to be it. GG gets called. The Italian Stallion is flying. It's Reynor who takes out Cure 2-0. And it's a double kill.
Double kill.
For our boy. Reynor takes the 2-0 lead in series for Basilisk over Team Liquid. And that means that it's time for the battle between Kit versus Kit. You guys are familiar with this one. There's obviously no doubt on anybody's mind that the next player up for Team Liquid is going to be Claymore. 63% of you guys believe that this was going to be a 2-0 for Reynor. The Terrans had not lost a single game against Protoss Zerg on Friday or Saturday. First match today is 2-0 in favor of the Zergies. The Swarm is back, baby. The swarm is back. Obviously, it's Mana now. That would be a plot twist. Mana with his cannon rush. Reynor versus Clem. Best of 2. Kid versus Kid. Reynor 2-0. Clem 2-0. A 1-1 draw. 2 of what I generally believe, the most talented video gamers on this planet. I know that we banter about Reynor's League of Legends skills, but I generally believe that if these guys would have spent even 70 or 80% of their time that they've put in Starcraft in any other game, they'd be world class. Whether that's a shooting game, whether that's a MOBA or anything else, if they would have spent this much time on any other game, I think they truly would have been world class.